Throughout history, humanity has struggled with deep and pressing problems: war between nations and ideas, conflict within our communities, and suffering in our hearts. We are constantly being reminded by major news outlets of the increasingly troubling times in which we live. These issues are often given cursory explanations, with little, if any, attempt to understand their shared root cause. Leaders seek peace through negotiations between minds, which at best produce fragile alliances. Since it is the nature of the mind to change, such alliances will inevitably come to an end. True and lasting peace, both within oneself and society, must be rooted in something that surpasses the ever-changing nature of the mind. A closer inspection reveals that these apparent disharmonies are but symptoms of a prevailing worldview, which is founded upon the presumption of separation. This presumption posits our essential self as finite and detached, and, as such, each one of us is a discrete entity, separate from other people, animals, and nature. This false premise results in all thoughts, feelings, actions, and relationships unfolding in a manner which is consistent with the belief of a separate, finite existence. And thus, all of an individual's activities will be an expression of this primary belief, thereby giving rise to behavior that violates the first and fundamental truth, namely, that we share our being. All conflicts between individuals, communities, and nations, and the exploitation and degradation of the earth can be traced back to the violation of this single principle. Therefore, any remedy that does not address this primary cause will have, at best, only a temporary effect. The seeds of separation which gave rise to the problem in the first place will remain subliminally imprinted in the remedy, and it will only be a matter of time before they develop again into new disharmonies. It is for this reason that many social movements have as yet failed to bring about the change they seek, even after decades of well-intentioned intervention. We must reconnect with the ancient wisdom that has echoed throughout human history. Dating back to as early as the 7th century, the inscription "Know Thyself" adorned the entrance to the temple of Apollo at Delphi. In the 5th century, Parmenides, a pivotal figure in Western philosophy, proposed the idea that all existence emanates from a singular, eternal source, an infinite and undivided being. At the same time, similar notions arose in Eastern philosophies, such as the Upanishads, proclaiming the individual self and the ultimate reality of the universe are identical, and later, in Christianity's affirmation, I and the Father are one. This fundamental unity of being forms the cornerstone of major religious, philosophical, and spiritual traditions, adapted to the needs of their respective times. It encompasses the essence of existence, experienced as the essence of self and the essence of the world. This essence, complete and indivisible, lacks nothing, resists nothing, and includes all things, and thus peace and contentment are its very nature. The German theologian Meister Eckhart pointed to this when he said, "When you come to the one that gathers all things up into itself, there you must stay." Understanding this unity not only fulfills humanity's quest for peace, but also lays the groundwork for a just and harmonious society. If this understanding is the source of peace both within oneself and society, then we must ask ourselves, how do we arrive at this understanding, both at the individual and societal level? On the individual level, it begins with a simple inquiry. Am I aware of my being? Am I conscious of my existence? Each one of us can affirm unequivocally, yes, I am. This awareness of being constitutes our most intimate and innate experience, preceding all other identities. Before we identify as any gender, religion, or social status, we recognize ourselves simply as I am. In the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 48, Jesus states, "Truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am." It is this primal awareness of felt oneness with being, of connectedness with something immeasurable that unifies us, an awareness of something that, almost paradoxically, is essentially who we are, and yet is much greater than who we are, and thus dispels the illusion of separation between oneself and the world around us. When we recognize the primary truth of our shared being, true love and compassion become possible, and acts of cruelty feel like violations against oneself. At the societal level, living this understanding entails aligning actions, relationships, and institutions with the unity of being. Beyond superficial labels, we must recognize and relate to the shared essence within each individual. Regardless of differences, we all refer to ourselves as I. We share our name, just as we share our being. Every thought, feeling, action, and relationship reflects our underlying worldview. All that is necessary is to ensure that our underlying attitude is consistent with the understanding that we share our being with everyone and everything, and thus our worldview and conduct are guided by this single principle. As St. Augustine said, "Love and do whatever you want." That is, realize the prior unity that you share with all of life and its countless manifestations, and act in accordance with that knowledge. Implementing this understanding not only cultivates inner peace and harmony, but also underpins efforts to resolve conflicts and restore balance with one's environment. Ultimately, it serves as the foundation for world peace. The next stage in human evolution necessitates transcending the illusion of separation. The unity of being should inform every relationship and institution, from families to civilizations. Our society must be rooted in the fundamental truth of unity, laying the groundwork for a just and harmonious world.